Hello, this is Lucas, and in this video I'm going to be going over the while and the do while loop in JavaScript. So, do while loop just allows us to loop through a piece of code a number of times to be specified. So, let's say that we have a variable called I, and we equal this to 3. And then what we can do is we can create a while loop. So we'll just do while. And then we will need to pass in a condition. Okay, so for example, we can pass in while I is less than, let's say while I is greater than 0. Then in the curly brackets, this is what the code, this is the code that's going to be executed per iteration. Okay, so you can see that we have set I as 3. And what we are doing here is we are checking if I is greater than 0. Now because I is greater than 0, this code will get executed. Then when this code gets executed, it will check this statement again, and if it's true, it will execute this code again, and it will continue to do that until this condition here is false. So for example, we can do like console.log, and we can just print I. Okay, I is just the number that we have set, but now we need to make sure, because if we just leave it at this code or this loop will continuously loop without stopping, because I is going to be 3 all the time. It's not going to change, so this condition will always be true no matter what. So what we can do is we can do I minus minus, which means that every single iteration this value will go down by 1. Okay, so we can see in action. If we refresh this, you can see on the console, we start off at 3. Okay, you can see I is set to 3. So we check if I is greater than 0, which it is, I is 3. So 3 is greater than 0. Then we will log that. So you can see we have log 3. And then we will decrement I by 1. So then I becomes 2. And then we check this condition again. Now, is 2 greater than 0? It is, so that's true. So we are going to iterate this loop again. So we're going to print out I, which is now 2. You can see we have 2. And then we are going to decrement it one more time. So now 2 becomes 1. And then we check this condition again to see if it's true. Now 1 is greater than 0, so this condition here is true. We will print out I, which is 1 now, and then we will decrement it again. And now I, which was 1, becomes 0. And then we check this while loop again, and we check if this is true. Now we are checking if 0 is greater than 0. Well, this is false, so we will exit out of this loop because this condition is now false. And you can see that we get nothing else printed out there. Okay, we can have something else. So for example, we can do I is equal to, let's say we do 10. And what we can do is if I is less than, or we can do this as 0 just to start off. And then we can check if I is less than 10. And then we'll just have to increase it. This time we'll have to increase it. And now we can refresh this, and you can see we get the numbers from 0 to 9 being printed. Because every single iteration, I goes up in value. So we start off at 0, then I becomes 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 9. And then when it becomes 9, we'll print out 9, we'll increment it by 1, which becomes 10. And now we are checking if 10 is smaller than 10. Well, this is false, so we will exit out of this loop. So that's the while loop. So the next one I'm going to be going over is the do while, which works in a similar way. There's just one difference. Okay, but let's just create this for now. So let's do a do with the brackets. Let's add a few spaces there. And then at the end of these curly brackets, we will add our while condition. So while, and then we can do something like I is less than 10. Okay, and then semicolon at the end. So what is the difference between these two? Well, firstly, let's just add this in here. Okay. Now, the difference between the do while and the while is, so in the while, we check if the condition is true first. If the condition is true, then we will execute this code. But with the do while, it works the opposite way. We firstly execute the piece of code and then we check if it's true. If it's true, we'll execute the code again and then we'll check again if it's true. Now, let's say we do this in the very first iteration. We will execute this code. If this is false, then we will not execute this code again. Okay? So I'm just going to comment this out. Actually, not comment it out. We don't even need this. Let's save this. Let's go back to our console, print this out, and you can see we get the exact same result. Okay? So the do while and the while are basically the same thing, except the way they operate is switched. With the while loop, we check if it's true first, and then we execute. With the do while, we execute and then we check if it's true. Okay? So that's the while and the do while loop in JavaScript. I hope this video was helpful. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.